Hello, everybody. I am Kathy, and I am here from Sagmoraine Native Plant Community. For those of you who this is the first time you're watching one of our videos, we are an all-volunteer 501c3 nonprofit organization in the Chicago area, and our mission is to educate about and try to provide resources for and to encourage restoring some of our beautiful native plant species back into all of our landscapes to help our environment, to help our pollinators, to help our birds, and in the long run to help us. And even if you're not in the Chicago region, please, oh please don't tune out. Please keep watching because so many of these native plants that we talk about are native to very, very large portions of the country. So you're bound to find some, if not many, in this presentation that are going to be native to where you live. And tonight we're very thrilled to have Chris Baran back with us. His previous presentation of a few weeks ago was very popular. Chris is just a wealth of information, and he is going to be telling us about some of these lesser known natives that are excellent in the garden. And I was really excited as I was peeking through these slides, and I'm thinking, I never heard of that plant. That's beautiful. And I never heard of this one. That's beautiful. What the heck? So I'm really excited about this because it gives us new native plants to think about. But before I introduce Chris to all of you, I do want to just thank you for please liking and sharing this video, and please consider subscribing so that you're always aware when we come out with new content. So our special guest, Chris Baran, is the founder of Resilient Design, a garden and landscape design, installation, and stewardship firm in Chicago that focuses on using native plants to create landscapes that are both ecologically sound and aesthetically pleasing. Chris is dedicated to transforming outdoor spaces into thriving ecosystems. Chris has a background in horticulture with expertise in sustainable landscape practices, landscape and garden design, perennial plant communities, and garden stewardship. The Resilient Design team has over 20 years experience in landscaping, horticulture, and conservation. Resilient Design proudly serves the greater Chicagoland area, working with clients across DuPage, Will, and Cook counties. And with no further ado, to present 10 lesser known natives that are excellent in the garden, I present you with Chris Baran. Good evening, Chris, and thank you so much for joining us again to bestow more of your amazing knowledge on us.
Oh, hi. Hi, thanks, Kathy. It's great to be back. Thank you for that really great introduction. All right, so we're going to talk about 10 of my favorite native plants that aren't used quite so much in gardens and landscapes as I think they should be. I just kind of want to make a statement at the beginning. I made sure that even though these are a little bit more obscure and lesser known plants, that at the bare minimum, you can get the seeds for these plants readily online, and the vast majority of them you can buy retail either at local native plant nurseries or retail online. So do you want to get started with the first plant? Okay, Aralia racemosa, the American spikenard. This is a large shrub-like perennial that does great in a shade garden. So this does well in full to part shade, medium soil. It gets to be about 4 feet tall by 4 feet wide. This is native to most of the eastern United States. You can use it like a shrub in a shade garden or as a specimen plant. It's got beautiful architectural form. The leaves kind of like splay out, very horizontal to the ground. It's a lot of great texture. It looks really good. Like if you have a bungalow and you have a shade garden in front of a bungalow, it looks really good following those kind of like the lines of a bungalow house. And it's got these beautiful berries that come up in late summer and fall, and the birds love them.
Okay, so I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions
Yeah,
tonight because this is exciting to me, these new plants.
yeah,
Being that it's not a shrub,
uh-huh.
you don't need the berries will come no matter what, correct? I mean, you just can
Yeah,
plant one of these and it's going to be loaded with berries.
yeah, yeah,
Perfect.
yeah, and it's and it's a perennial, so it'll grow back from the crown every year, but it has a shrub-like form. It's like kind of like similar to how baptisias do.
Very pretty.
Hmm. Yeah, this is a beautiful plant. There's a Japanese version or relative that's really popular in the landscape trade. But I think this plant is just as beautiful and deserves more recognition. Asclepias speciosa, showy milkweed. So this is a great alternative to common milkweed in home gardens. Um, in the Chicagoland area, we're technically outside of its native range. It's more native to the plain states, but it'll do really well in the Chicagoland area so long as it has medium to dry soil that's well drained. It doesn't like a lot of moisture, and it needs full sun. The plants will decline in any kind of shade scenarios, but it's a really beautiful plant. It's got the flowers are a little bit bigger and showier, hence the common name than common milkweed, and it's far less aggressive in the garden. It won't run all over the place and take over rhizominously like common milkweed. It'll kind of like stay in place in its spot. Blephilia ciliata, downy wood mint. This is a great plant. It can take full sun to almost full shade. I didn't put full shade because I didn't want to trick anybody. So I said part shade, medium to dry soils. Grows to about a foot to 2 feet tall, about a foot wide. This is native to most of the eastern United States, and the Chicagoland area is part of that kind of chunk of the country. So eastern United States is, like the East Coast up to the Mississippi and like down to the Appalachians. So kind of like that chunk of the US. This will bloom in June and July, kind of like where you might have some of those like dead times in the garden where not a lot of things are blooming. It kind of bridges that gap. It'll form little colonies, like little mat-like colonies by rhizomes, but not aggressively. It won't. It's a good neighbor. It's not going to like take over anybody's space. It's going to keep to itself, and it's just great for transitioning when you have sun to shade uh, areas of your garden, and you want to like keep some consistency and rhythm to it. So you can use this plant as part of that transition, and it's really cool. It looks like I think you had said a hyssop or like a monarda almost with those flowers. Really pretty plant.
Yeah, it reminds me of the hyssop, and with the
Mhm.
size of this would be a great plant for even like a very, very small garden,
Yeah,
very petite native plant.
for sure. Yeah, it's really great in borders. Yeah. And it's great because it's a mint. The bunnies aren't going to go after it.
Right, okay.
Part of your bunny
Another one of
barrier.
our awesome mints.
Uh-huh. Delphinium exaltatum, the tall larkspur. So this is an interesting one. It's got a very bizarre native range where it goes from like the Appalachians and then down around Indiana and Illinois and back up into Missouri and Arkansas and Iowa. So it's kind of does like a little loop around Illinois and Indiana, but it does really well here. This is a great plant in medium to moist, well drained soils, full sun. It gets about 4 feet tall. Hummingbirds love this plant, but it is a little bit delicate. The stems are kind of wispy, and if you want to give it some support, some like buddy neighbors in the garden so that they don't flop over. But it's a really, really beautiful plant. And it's just nice to have like a native delphinium option. kind of scratch that itch. Desmodium canadense, the showy tick trefoil. So this is in our pea family. This is one of our native Faberaceae. You can see in this picture on the left, it's got those pea-like flowers. These are really beautiful flowers. Go to the next slide. Yeah, some of these, when I really like the plant and wanted more pictures, they get 2 slides. So this one does great in full to part sun, medium dry to medium moist soil. It's super adaptable. Uh, in the wild, it would be in drier sites. It can take a lot of different garden conditions. It's taller, 4 to 5 feet tall. You want to use this plant in groups. If it's just by itself, like spotted here and there in the garden, it might look a little bit weedy or kind of like gangly and out of place. But when you put them in groups so that you get that more massed effect of those flowers, it looks really great. Particularly like if you've got it positioned with some warm season bunch grasses around it so that those flowers are just kind of hovering around the seed heads of the grasses. Gillenia trifoliata, Bowman's root. So it's got these beautiful white flowers here with the little red like centers. And on the right, you can see that in bloom, I mean, not in bloom, in the fall, when the foliage is turning these wonderful yellow to orange to brown to red colors. Looks
It's
really
really a
great.
stunning plant. I mean,
Oh, yeah, this is a great plant.
it
Yeah.
looks exotic.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
it
doesn't
looks,
look like something that would be a native Midwestern, Eastern United States type of plant, right?
no, it almost reminds you of an orchid or something
Hmm.
exotic like that.
Yeah, yeah. So there's another picture of more of the flowers. So this does great in part sun to shade, average soil. It's not small, but 2 to 3 foot tall perennial. It'll bloom earlier in the season in May to July. Uh, and like I said, it's got that amazing color, and it's just a really elegant plant, particularly in a shade garden. It's great for like a back border in a shade garden with lower growing perennials and sedges and ferns in front of it, particularly in the fall when it puts on that display with the color. Mitella diphylla, bishop's cap. So if you're familiar with like the heucheras, this is a relative, and this plant can actually hybridize with Heuchera villosa in the wild or in the garden. This is good full to part shade plant. It's smaller. It's about a foot tall. Pretty tiny. Doesn't take up a lot of space, like 6 to 10 inches. Um, it's got like this really delicate flowers. They're really tiny, and they're actually named for bishop's caps. If you can see that form there, and the flower might be hard to tell in this picture. But this is really great to use it as a ground cover in a shade garden. It's kind of different, right? People kind of, even though it's small and petite, people take notice of it because it's just a little bit different looking.
It has a very peaceful look to it.
Yeah,
Imagine a mass of this would just be
yeah,
very peaceful.
yeah, yeah, and it'll form colonies over time if it's in ideal conditions. Silphium mohrii, Mohr's rosinweed. So this is a member, obvious. This is one of the silphiums. So this is actually native to the southeastern U.S., but it does really well in gardens in our area. It's so if you compare this plant to our Midwestern or eastern Silphiums. This one's a lot more delicate looking and a lot less physical. Like, like if you think of like compass plant or prairie dock, uh, even cut plant, right? Those are very kind of like tough looking plants. I think this one's a lot more delicate and kind of even the color of the flowers, that like buttery yellow, it's a little bit more subdued. Slide. Yeah, so this does well. It needs dry, dry soil. It actually could be like poor, like gritty, gravelly conditions. It's a bigger plant. It's about 5 feet tall, but it's really beautiful, and it's not as aggressive of a cedar as some of the other silphiums tend to be. So it's not gonna, seed all over the place in the garden as much as like compass plant might, or particularly cut plant. And but this is also, like the other silphiums, like the goldfinches will go nuts for these seeds. Mm. This is a really good plant. I love the stems, the darkness of the stems, sorry, with the buttery yellow of the flowers. It's really good. Good look.
I'm
Same.
liking this one.
Yeah, this is everybody's new favorite plant, Sanguisaura canadensis. So this is like how there's those bands where you'll like read about them and they'll say, "Oh, this is your favorite artist's favorite artist that, that you've never heard of it." So this is one of those plants that all of your favorite gardeners, this is their favorite plant. And every time anybody sees this plant, it becomes their new favorite plant. This is a very unusual looking native plant.
It looks like fringe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's just gorgeous. So this
Look at
sun,
how
like this,
stunning that is in the backdrop. That's
yeah,
just stunning.
yeah. And the only thing similar to this, I think, that we have as far as natives go is maybe Veronicastrum Culver's root, kind of has this similar, spiky white, but this is much different. These is much more just dramatic. So this,
And it seems to be very upright, even though it's a
yeah,
tall, slender plant. Is that
hmm
true that it really
yeah,
does stay upright? It doesn't
yeah,
flop?
particularly in full sun. So this plant is threatened, rare, or endangered, and throughout its native range. In the wild, this is a plant that would be found in like marshes or bogs. So if you have it in like a rain garden in full sun, it will get tall, like these plants are, 6 feet tall, 5 to 6 feet tall. In regular garden soil, even though it is, a plant that in the wild loves wet feet, it will do well in average conditions in the garden, and it'll be a little bit smaller, maybe like 3 to 4 to 5 feet max, in that kind of range. uh yeah, and it's just gorgeous. It just looks really great, and it'll bloom well past frost. So this is great to have in the garden for any, you know
So
queens
it
still.
forms, it will form colonies, you said, but does it seed itself a lot?
No, no. So it'll, by rhizomes, it'll form like little colonies, it'll spread out, but that's slowly over time. It's not very
Hmm.
aggressive. Yeah. But this is great, because it'll just keep blooming well past frost. And so it's great, source of food for any of our late queens that are still foraging around before they find their nesting place.
I'm
The
loving
queen
this
bees.
one.
Yeah, that's just like everybody loves this plant. It's yeah, but you can, I as of when I put these slides together, you can Google this and buy it retail online from a couple of couple of quality sources. Tenidia integrima, the yellow pimpernel. So this is member of the carrot family. Uh, so it's a host plant for our swallowtail caterpillars. And there you can see one there on the right, getting down, doing his thing. This is another plant that's great transition plant. It can go from full sun to almost full shade. So you can kind of use it similarly to how you can use that wood mint for those transition areas in your garden where you want to create, continuity when you're going from sun to shade. This is an earlier bloomer, May to June, and it looks really good in a sedge garden where those airy umbrals can kind of just float above the sedges. And this is a great alternative to Zizias, the golden Alexanders. If you like the look of that plant and you really want to provide those host services for the swallowtails, but you don't like how aggressive Zizia can be in the garden, spreading all over the place, this is a great alternative because it won't spread as aggressively. Oh, and wow, we're here already. And this is our bonus. This is number 11, Scutellaria incana, the hoary skullcap. This is another one of our great native mints. It does well in part sun to part shade, medium soils, can go medium moist, medium dry, about 3 feet tall. It will spread rhizominously to form colonies, but they're just like any of the other mints. They're easy to pull out and get rid of. They don't have very deep roots, so they're not a problem to keep in check. But this
Looks
is
like it
just,
has nice dense foliage.
yeah, it's got beautiful foliage and it's got those great flowers, and it's very upright plant, very different look for the shade garden than a lot of what we think of in our shade gardens with like the asteraceae. So it's nice with the goldenrods and the asters, that are more your traditional shade garden flowering perennials. This is a really great look.
I love it. I love the color. I love the color of the foliage with the
Yeah,
flowers. It just
yeah, there's some Joe Pye there in the background. Yeah, but
these
you can,
these are these are awesome plants, Chris. I mean,
yeah.
who knew? I mean, this is I mean, now I have new things I wanna look up. I definitely want to see if I have any room where I could put the fringy plant. I gotta like memorize these new names, but this is
Oh,
and
that's
I did not know that we had another native in the carrot family, other than like carrots and dill and everything like that aren't, but I didn't know that there was another native besides Golden Alexander.
oh yeah, there's that one. There's I don't I forget the meadow parsnip is another one. It looks really similar to the pimpernel.
Do you feel like there's one species that the swallowtails seem to like the most?
Not that I know. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, this was awesome. Thank you, Chris. And I
Yeah,
do
sure.
want to ask a little bit, for those of our viewers who are seeing you for the first time,
Yeah.
can you give us a little idea of what you do and go over as we can see here in front of us how people can reach you, but what are some services you can provide for people as they're starting to add more native plants to their landscapes?
Oh yeah, sure. So we do design work, uh installation of new gardens, and stewardship. So, where we do the ongoing maintenance of the gardens to keep them healthy and looking their best. We do design apart from installation and stewardship, but that's it. We don't do installation without the design, and we don't do stewardship of
Other
others'
people's work.
garden. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And um,
And we also sell plants. So I'll be
oh, you do? I didn't
this
know.
summer. This summer I'll be every Sunday at the Skokie Farmers Market.
So you're doing some growing of plants as well?
Yeah, well, yeah, we do grow plants that we start from seed, and then I also sell plants that I buy in. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah,
So are you, another question I have for you is, would you give everybody, because Chris is going to be back with us in a couple of weeks,
yeah.
doing a much needed presentation on sedges. And
Yes.
can you give everybody a little bit of a teaser of what that presentation is going to be about?
Oh, so it's going to be very similar to this one, where we're going to talk about 10 sedges, and the conditions that they like, but also how to use them in the garden. And then with an example of like a kind of like a mock sedge garden design.
Wonderful. I remember when I first got into native plants, because I had been a gardener with non-native pollinator plants for years. And I always was like, oh, I don't want to, I only have so much room. I don't want to use that room on sedges. I want
Mm,
all things that flower and so on, and for the pollinators and so on and so forth. And then over time, I've learned just how amazingly important to our ecosystem and our pollinators and our birds and everything. Really, really, the sedges are
mhm.
kind of the cornerstone of the native landscape, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, they provide so many eco services with erosion control,
Yeah.
controlling the moisture levels and temperature of the soil, providing habitat,
Mhm.
nesting opportunities for insects,
Now
shelter
I'm
for
a
birds, even.
now I'm a huge fan. And so
Yeah,
yeah, Chris is going to be here in a couple weeks talking more about sedges and how you can use them. And with that, that will conclude our presentation for this evening. Thank you, Chris. I'll see you in a
yeah.
couple of weeks. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next presentation.
Okay.
Good night.
Thanks, guys.